Good morning. Listen to me. Right now, it might not make sense. Right now, you might be struggling. You might be in the dark. You might be wondering, why is this happening to me? But I need you to understand something deep in your soul. It will come together. See, the problem with most people is they want the picture to be clear before they take action. They want all the pieces in place before they move. But life don't work like that. You don't get to see the masterpiece before you start painting. You got to put in the strokes one by one and trust that in time, it will all make sense. Right now, you might be in a season of confusion, a season of pain, a season where people have walked away from you, where doors have slammed in your face. But that's not the end of the story. Every champion, every successful person, every great name you admire had a moment where they wanted to quit, but they didn't. You know why? Because they believed that all the struggle, all the sacrifice, all the lonely nights would add up to something greater. And guess what? It did. So I need you to stop focusing on what's wrong and start focusing on what's possible. I need you to stop complaining and start preparing. Stop doubting and start doing. Because when you work, when you grind, when you refuse to give up, that's when things start to shift. That's when doors start to open. That's when the dream starts to become real. I know it's tough. I know you're tired. I know you feel like you've been running uphill forever. But hear me, keep going. Because one day you're going to wake up and all the blood, all the sweat, all the tears, you're going to see why it was necessary. You're going to see how every setback set you up for a comeback. You're going to see how every loss was actually preparing you for the win. It will come together, but only if you keep pushing, only if you refuse to stop, only if you believe that your future is worth the fight. So get up, get focused, get hungry, and watch how piece by piece, step by step, it all comes together. There's a reason why so many people never reach their full potential. It's not because they aren't talented. It's not because they don't have what it takes. It's because they don't trust the process. They want instant results. They want overnight success. They want to put in work today and see the reward tomorrow. But life doesn't operate like that. Growth, success, and transformation take time. And if you don't learn to trust the process, you'll quit before you ever see the fruits of your labor. When a seed is planted, it doesn't sprout the next day. You don't put it in the soil, water it once, and expect to wake up to a full-grown tree. No, there's a process. The roots have to grow underground before anything ever breaks the surface. And just because you don't see it doesn't mean nothing is happening. But what do most people do? They plant the seed, and when they don't see results fast enough, they get frustrated. They stop watering it. They stop taking care of it. They dig it up to check if it's growing. And in doing so, they kill the very thing they were trying to grow. This is exactly how most people treat their dreams. They start with excitement, with energy, with passion. But when they don't see immediate success, they doubt. They start questioning everything. Why isn't this working yet? Am I wasting my time? Maybe this isn't for me. And that's when they stop. That's when they quit, not realizing that they were right on the edge of a breakthrough, right on the edge of seeing everything come together. The truth is, success doesn't come when you want it to. It comes when you've proven you can handle it. It comes when you've gone through the trials, the setbacks, the disappointments, and still kept pushing forward. Every great success story is built on years of patience, dedication, and an unwavering belief that even when things don't look like they're working, they actually are. Think about an athlete training for the Olympics. They don't wake up one day and suddenly become the best in the world. They train for years. They push themselves to the limit. They wake up early. They stay late. They practice when nobody's watching. And for most of that time, there's no medal, no applause, no recognition, just pain, sweat, and effort. But they keep going because they trust the process. They know that every rep, every sprint, every hour in the gym is bringing them closer to their moment. Most people don't have that kind of patience. They want to skip the hard part. They want to fast forward to the moment of victory without going through the struggle. But the struggle is what makes the success meaningful. The grind is what builds the strength to sustain the success once you reach it. Look at nature. A caterpillar doesn't turn into a butterfly overnight. It goes through a painful transformation inside the cocoon. It literally breaks itself down and rebuilds into something greater. And here's the key. The struggle of breaking out of the cocoon is what gives its wings the strength to fly. If someone were to come along and cut open the cocoon to help the butterfly, it wouldn't be able to fly. It would be weak, unprepared for life outside. The struggle is necessary. That's the problem with people who rush success. They want to break free before they've developed the strength to sustain their breakthrough. They want the results without the preparation. But real success demands patience. It demands discipline. It demands that you show up every day, even when it feels like nothing is happening, even when it feels like you're going in circles, even when doubt starts to creep in and you wonder if you're wasting your time. Most people quit because they judge their progress too soon. They measure their results before the process is complete. Imagine baking a cake and taking it out of the oven halfway through. It wouldn't be ready. It wouldn't taste right. But that's what people do with their dreams. They start something, and when they don't see results fast enough, they stop. They convince themselves it's not working, when in reality, they just didn't give it enough time. The ones who succeed are the ones who understand that everything is happening, even when they can't see it. They know that the small daily efforts add up. They know that just because they don't see the full picture yet, doesn't mean it's not coming together. There are going to be days when you feel like nothing is changing. Days when it feels like you're doing everything right, but still not getting anywhere. Those are the days that separate the ones who make it from the ones who don't. Because that's the point where most people give up. They let their frustration get the best of them. They stop believing in the process. But those who keep going, those who push through those moments of doubt, they're the ones who eventually see everything come together. Trusting the process means understanding that setbacks are part of the journey, that failures aren't the end, they're lessons, that rejection isn't a sign to quit. It's a test to see how bad you really want it. Every struggle, every challenge, every delay, it's all shaping you into the person you need to become to handle what you're working for. Think about people who win the lottery. Most of them end up broke within a few years. Why? Because they never went through the process of building wealth. They never learned how to handle money. They skipped the struggle. And because of that, they weren't ready for the reward. But someone who builds their success from the ground up, who struggles, who fails, who learns and grows along the way, they don't lose it. Because they've developed the character, the habits, the mindset to sustain it. This is why you can't rush it. You have to trust that everything is happening for a reason, that every challenge is making you stronger, that every delay is protecting you from something you're not ready for yet. That even when things don't seem to be moving, they are. There will be times when you feel like quitting, times when the results aren't coming fast enough, times when you question whether it's even worth it. But that's when you have to remind yourself that this is all part of the process, that every great success was once in the exact same position you're in right now. And the only difference between those who make it and those who don't is that the ones who make it never stop trusting. Everything you want is on the other side of patience, discipline, and perseverance. Every time you choose to keep going instead of giving up, you're one step closer. Every day that you put in the work, even when you don't see the results, you're building something. You're getting stronger. You're preparing yourself for the moment when everything finally comes together. Most people wait for the perfect moment before they take action. They want to see the full path before they take the first step. They want all the answers before they make a move, but that's not how success works. If you wait until everything is clear, you'll be waiting forever. The truth is, you have to move even when you don't know exactly how things will play out. You have to step forward even when the vision is blurry. You have to take action even when doubt is whispering in your ear. The reason why so many people stay stuck is because they are afraid of the unknown. They want certainty before they commit. They want a guarantee before they invest their time, energy, and effort. But life doesn't come with guarantees. You don't get to see the finish line before you start the race. You don't get a map with all the answers. The only way to get clarity is by moving. The only way to figure it out is by doing. Think about driving a car at night. Your headlights only show you a few feet ahead, but that doesn't stop you from driving. You don't pull over and refuse to move just because you can't see your destination from where you are. You trust that as you keep driving, the road will continue to reveal itself. That's exactly how life works. You won't see the entire journey in advance, but as long as you keep moving, the path will become clearer. Most people let fear stop them. They tell themselves they're not ready. They wait for the right time. They convince themselves they need more information, more preparation, more signs before they begin. But what they don't realize is that waiting is actually the problem. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes to start. The more you hesitate, the more fear grows. The more you delay, the more comfortable you become with doing nothing. Success belongs to those who move despite uncertainty, to those who take action even when they don't have it all figured out, to those who start the business before they have all the answers, who begin the workout routine before they know every exercise, who make the call before they feel fully prepared. The people who win in life aren't the ones who have it all planned out from day one. They're the ones who take the leap and figure it out as they go. Think about a baby learning to walk. They don't wait until they fully understand the mechanics of balance before they take their first step. They just try. They fall, they get back up, they keep moving even though they don't know exactly how to do it yet. And eventually they figure it out. But if they waited until they felt completely confident, they would never take that first step. That's how you have to approach your goals. You won't be great at first. You won't have all the answers. You might stumble. You might fail, but that's part of the process. Every successful person you admire started before they were ready. They stepped into the unknown. They moved without clarity. They made mistakes. They learned, they adapted, and they kept going. If they had waited for everything to be perfect, they never would have started in the first place. That's what separates those who succeed from those who don't. The ones who succeed aren't necessarily smarter, luckier, or more talented. They're just willing to take action before they feel fully prepared. Think about someone standing at the edge of a swimming pool, waiting for the water to feel just right before they jump in. They hesitate, they overthink, they dip their toe in, but they never fully commit. Meanwhile, someone else just dives in. And guess what? That person figures out how to swim while they're in the water. The one who waited is still standing there thinking about it. That's what most people do in life. They keep waiting for the perfect moment, but the perfect moment never comes. You have to be willing to start messy. You have to be willing to look foolish. You have to be willing to take action, even when you don't feel completely confident. Confidence isn't something you have before you start. Confidence is something you build through action. The more you move, the more you learn. The more you learn, the more confident you become. But if you never take that first step, you'll never develop the confidence you're waiting for. The reality is nobody has it all figured out in the beginning. Every expert was once a beginner. Every master was once a student. The difference between them and everyone else is that they were willing to move without clarity. They were willing to take the first step. Even when the second step wasn't visible yet, they were willing to trust that by taking action, they would gain the experience and wisdom needed to keep going. Most people overcomplicate the process. They think they need a perfect plan, a perfect strategy, and all the right conditions before they start. But the truth is, the only thing you need is the courage to take the first step. The rest will reveal itself along the way. The more you move, the more the path unfolds. The more you take action, the more opportunities appear. Think about all the things you've put off because you felt like you weren't ready. The ideas you've had, the dreams you've thought about, the goals you've set but never acted on. What if you had just started? What if, instead of waiting for the perfect moment, you had taken action when you first had the idea? Imagine where you would be now. Imagine the progress you would have made. The truth is, readiness is a myth. You will never feel 100% ready. There will always be reasons to wait. There will always be doubts. There will always be a part of you that wants to hesitate. But the people who succeed are the ones who move anyway. They don't let fear make their decisions. They don't wait for perfect conditions. They just start. The only way to get to where you want to be is by moving forward, even when you can't see the full path. Every step you take brings more clarity. Every action you take brings more understanding. Every mistake you make brings more wisdom. The answers you're looking for won't come before you begin. They will come because you began. Stop waiting. Stop hesitating. Stop convincing yourself you need more time. But more time won't make you braver. More time won't give you more certainty. More time will only give fear more room to grow. The only thing that will bring clarity is action. The only thing that will bring progress is movement. The only thing that will bring success is your willingness to step into the unknown and figure it out as you go. Pain is something everyone experiences. It's unavoidable. It doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, or what your goals are. At some point, life will test you. You will face struggles, setbacks, disappointments, and losses. And in those moments, you will have two choices. Let the pain break you or let it build you. Most people see pain as something negative, something to be avoided at all costs. They see struggle as a sign that they should stop, that they should give up, that they should change their direction. But the truth is, pain is preparation. Pain is shaping you. Pain is refining you into the person you need to become to handle the success that's waiting for you on the other side. If you look at the people who have achieved greatness in any field, their stories are not filled with ease and comfort. They didn't wake up one day successful. They didn't take the easy road. They struggled. They suffered. They went through seasons where they questioned everything, where nothing seemed to be going their way, where they felt like they had nothing left to give. But instead of letting pain stop them, they used it. They allowed the pain to fuel them. They let every setback make them stronger. Every failure make them wiser. Every loss make them hungrier. Pain forces you to grow. It pushes you beyond your limits. It stretches you in ways that comfort never could. Think about a muscle. If you want it to grow, you have to put it under stress. You have to push it past its current capacity. You have to break it down so that it can rebuild itself stronger than before. That's how pain works in life. It's breaking you down, not to destroy you, but to make you stronger, to make you better, to prepare you for what's coming. Most people don't understand this. When they feel pain, they stop. They take it as a sign that they're on the wrong path. They assume that if something is difficult, it must not be meant for them. But the truth is, the difficulty is proof that they're growing. The pain is proof that they're being shaped into something greater. The struggle is necessary because without it, they would never develop the strength, the discipline, the resilience needed to handle the weight of success. Look at the most successful people in the world. They didn't get there because everything went their way. They got there because they endured. They faced obstacles that would have made most people quit. They experienced failures that would have destroyed the average person. They had moments where they felt completely defeated, where they questioned whether it was worth it. But they kept going. They used the pain. They turned it into power. They understood that every challenge was preparing them for something greater. Think about athletes. The ones who reach the highest levels of success don't do it by avoiding pain. They don't take shortcuts. They don't skip workouts when they're tired. They push through the exhaustion, through the soreness, through the days when their bodies are screaming for them to stop. They embrace the pain because they know it's the only way to get stronger. They know that every painful rep, every grueling practice, every sacrifice is shaping them into champions. It's the same in every area of life. If you want to be great, you have to be willing to suffer for it. You have to be willing to go through the pain of discipline, the pain of setbacks, the pain of rejection, because the pain is the process. The pain is what separates those who make it from those who don't. Most people aren't willing to endure it. They want success, but they don't want the struggle that comes with it. They want the rewards, but they don't want to pay the price. But you can't have one without the other. You don't get to the top without climbing. You don't build strength without resistance. You don't develop character without hardship. Pain is the cost of growth. It's the entry fee for success. And the people who understand this, the people who lean into the struggle instead of running from it, those are the ones who win. Pain has a way of revealing who you really are. It strips away the excuses. It exposes your true level of commitment. When things are easy, it's easy to stay motivated. It's easy to say you're dedicated when everything is going your way. But when the struggle comes, when things get hard, when nothing seems to be working, that's when you find out what you're really made of. That's when you see who's truly committed and who was just interested. The most powerful thing about pain is that it transforms you. It doesn't just make you stronger. It changes the way you see the world. It teaches you lessons you could never learn in comfort. It gives you a depth of understanding that only comes from struggle. It humbles you. It sharpens you. It makes you appreciate the things you once took for granted. It molds you into someone who can handle the pressures and responsibilities that come with success. Think about a diamond. It starts as a lump of coal. It has no value, no beauty, nothing special about it. But when it's put under extreme pressure, when it's subjected to intense heat, it transforms. It becomes one of the most valuable, most sought out of materials on the planet. That's what pain does to you. It refines you. It turns you into something greater than you were before. But you have to endure the process. You have to trust that the pressure isn't there to break you, it's there to make you. Most people don't want to go through the fire. They want to stay comfortable, but comfort doesn't produce greatness. Comfort keeps you stagnant. Comfort keeps you weak. If you never struggle, you never grow. If you never experience hardship, you never build resilience. If you never push past your limits, you'll never discover how powerful you truly are. The key is learning to use pain instead of letting it use you. Instead of seeing struggle as something negative, see it as an opportunity. Every challenge is a chance to become stronger. Every failure is a chance to learn. Every disappointment is a chance to develop resilience. Pain isn't there to stop you. It's there to push you forward. It's there to test how bad you really want it. The problem is most people don't see pain this way. They see it as a reason to quit. They see struggle as a sign that they should give up. They let pain define them instead of allowing it to shape them. But the ones who succeed are the ones who shift their perspective. They see pain as a gift. They understand that every hardship, every setback, every difficult moment is preparing them for something greater. Pain is a teacher. It shows you what you're capable of. It forces you to dig deeper, to push harder, to go beyond what you thought was possible. It brings out strengths you didn't even know you had, but only if you let it. Only if you embrace it instead of running from it. Only if you recognize that the struggle isn't there to destroy you, it's there to develop you. Nobody likes pain in the moment. Nobody enjoys struggling. But the difference between those who succeed and those who don't is that the successful ones are willing to endure it. They're willing to suffer for their dreams. They're willing to keep going, even when it hurts, even when it's hard, even when they feel like giving up, because they know that pain is temporary, but growth is permanent. They know that if they can push through the struggle, if they can keep going when everything inside them is telling them to stop, they will come out on the other side stronger, wiser, and more prepared for success than ever before. Most people fail not because they aren't capable, not because they don't have talent, not because they don't have opportunities, but because they focus on the wrong things. They spend more time complaining about their problems than working on their solutions. They waste energy thinking about what's missing instead of using what they have. They focus on everything that's going wrong instead of preparing for how to make it right. The truth is, your focus determines your future. Where your mind goes, your life follows. If you keep looking at obstacles, all you will see is reasons why you can't move forward. If you keep thinking about how unfair life is, you will never take control of your situation. If you keep dwelling on what you don't have, you will never maximize what you do have. People get stuck because they put all their attention on things they can't control. They worry about the economy, about other people's opinions, about past mistakes, about circumstances that are out of their hands. They let these things dictate their mood, their actions, their mindset. But the ones who succeed understand that the only thing they can control is themselves. They don't waste time blaming other people. They don't sit around feeling sorry for themselves. They focus on what they can do. They put their energy into growth, into progress, into getting better every single day. There's always going to be a reason to complain. There's always going to be a reason to feel frustrated. Life will always present challenges, setbacks, unfair situations. But what you choose to do with those challenges is what separates winners from quitters. You can either use them as excuses or you can use them as fuel. You can either let them break you or let them build you. The difference is all in your mindset. The difference is what you choose to focus on. Look at two people in the same tough situation. One will use it as motivation to get better, and the other will use it as a reason to quit. One will see it as a test to overcome, and the other will see it as a burden to carry. It's not the situation that determines the outcome. It's the mindset. It's the ability to shift focus from the problem to the solution, from the obstacle to the opportunity, from the struggle to the lesson. If you want to change your life, you have to change the way you see your circumstances. You have to stop looking at everything through the lens of negativity and start looking for ways to grow. You have to stop waiting for things to get easier and start preparing yourself to get stronger. You have to stop seeing yourself as a victim of your situation and start seeing yourself as the creator of your future. Too many people focus on what they lack. They focus on their disadvantages, their struggles, the reasons why they can't succeed. They look at other people and say, they have more resources. They have better connections. They have more talent. They have an easier path. And because of that, they convince themselves they are at a disadvantage. But the truth is, everyone has something to work with. Everyone has an opportunity. Everyone has something they can use to move forward. The ones who win are the ones who focus on what they do have, not what they don't. They take what's in their hands and they maximize it. They take what little they have and they multiply it. Think about the most successful people in the world. Most of them didn't start with everything handed to them. They didn't have all the right conditions. Many of them started with nothing, with more obstacles than advantages, with more reasons to fail than to succeed. But they didn't sit around complaining about it. They didn't spend time thinking about how unfair life was. They focused on what they could do. They found a way to make it work. There are people who came from broken homes, from poverty, from situations worse than anything you've been through, and they still made it. Not because they had it easy, not because they got lucky, but because they refused to focus on their limitations. They refused to let their circumstances define them. They refused to let their past determine their future. Your mind is your most powerful tool, but for most people, it's their biggest enemy. They sabotage themselves with their own thinking. They talk themselves out of opportunities. They convince themselves that success is out of reach. They let fear, doubt, and negativity control them. But the ones who succeed learn to take control of their mind. They train themselves to focus on solutions, on growth, on possibilities. They understand that whatever they give their energy to will grow. So they stop feeding their problems and start feeding their progress. If you constantly think about failure, failure will consume you. If you constantly focus on fear, fear will control you. If you constantly dwell on what's wrong, your life will reflect that. But if you train your mind to focus on solutions, on action, on progress, you will start to see opportunities where others see obstacles. You will start to create momentum where others see stagnation. You will start to move forward while everyone else is standing still. Most people don't realize how much power they have over their own lives. They think they are stuck because of external factors, but in reality, they are stuck because of their own perspective. They believe that their situation is holding them back, but in reality, it's their mindset that's keeping them in the same place. The moment you shift your focus, everything changes. The moment you stop looking at life as something that's happening to you and start seeing it as something you can shape, you take back your power. Every day you have a choice. You can wake up and focus on the problems, or you can wake up and focus on the solutions. You can spend your time worrying about things you can't control, or you can put your energy into things you can change. You can complain about how unfair life is, or you can take action to make your situation better. The choice is always yours. Look at the people who have turned their lives around. They weren't given a special opportunity. They weren't handed an easy road. They simply made a decision to stop focusing on what they couldn't control and start taking action on what they could. They stopped waiting for the perfect conditions and started working with what they had. They stopped making excuses and started making progress. Success isn't about having all the answers. It's not about having the perfect situation. It's about mindset. It's about discipline. It's about deciding that no matter what life throws at you, you will keep moving forward. It's about focusing on the solution instead of the problem. No matter what you're going through right now, there is a way forward. No matter what struggles you're facing, there is a way to grow. But you have to make a decision to shift your focus. You have to train yourself to see beyond your current circumstances. You have to stop giving your energy to things that drain you and start putting it into things that build you. The most successful people in the world aren't the ones who never had problems. They're the ones who stopped letting problems define them. They're the ones who stopped focusing on obstacles and started focusing on opportunities. They're the ones who refuse to let their past dictate their future. Everything changes when you take control of your focus. Everything shifts when you stop looking at what's wrong and start preparing for what's right. Everything accelerates when you stop wasting time complaining and start using that time to build something better. The power is in your hands, but you have to be willing to stop looking at your limitations and start maximizing your strengths. You have to stop waiting for things to change and start changing yourself. You have to stop focusing on the reasons why you can't and start finding the ways that you can. Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They don't fail because they lack intelligence. They don't fail because they don't have the right resources. They fail because they don't stay committed long enough to see results. They fail because they give up when it gets tough. They fail because they start something, but when it doesn't happen as fast as they want, they move on to something else. Success doesn't belong to the smartest or the most talented. It belongs to the ones who refuse to quit. The problem is most people want instant results. They want to see progress immediately. They want to put in a little effort and get a big reward. And when that doesn't happen, they get frustrated. They start doubting themselves. They start questioning if it's even worth it. And before you know it, they quit. They walk away from something that could have changed their life simply because they weren't willing to push through the tough moments. Think about how many people start going to the gym at the beginning of the year. They're motivated, they're excited, they have big goals, but after a few weeks, when they don't see the results they expected, they stop showing up. They convince themselves it's not working. They tell themselves they'll try again later. But the truth is, they didn't give it enough time. They didn't stay committed long enough to see the transformation. Success is about consistency. It's about showing up every single day, even when you don't feel like it. It's about doing the work when no one is watching. It's about pushing through the moments when it feels like nothing is happening, because something is happening. Every rep you put in at the gym is making you stronger, even if you don't see it. Every hour you spend building your business is moving you forward, even if you don't see it. Every time you practice your craft, you're getting better, even if you don't feel it. The results aren't always visible immediately, but that doesn't mean the work isn't paying off. Most people quit right before their breakthrough. They give up right before they start seeing results. They walk away when they're inches away from success. And the reason they quit is because they don't trust the process. They don't believe that if they just keep going, they will get there. They let frustration take over. They let doubt control their decisions. They let impatience make them throw away everything they've worked for. But the ones who make it are the ones who refuse to quit. They are the ones who push through when it gets tough. They are the ones who keep going even when they don't feel like it. They understand that consistency is the secret. They know that success is not about what you do once, it's about what you do over and over and over again. Think about a tree. When you plant a seed, nothing happens right away. You water it, you give it sunlight, you take care of it, but for weeks, even months, you see nothing. If you didn't know any better, you might think the seed is dead. You might think all your effort is wasted. But what you don't see is that under the surface, the roots are growing. The foundation is being built. And then one day, seemingly out of nowhere, that tree starts to grow. But it wasn't out of nowhere. It was because of all the time, effort, and consistency that came before. That's exactly how success works. Most people want to plant the seed and see the tree the next day. They don't want to go through the process. They don't want to put in the time. But success doesn't work like that. You have to be willing to show up even when it feels like nothing is happening. You have to be willing to put in the work even when there's no immediate reward. Because if you keep going, if you stay committed, if you trust the process, the results will come. Look at the most successful people in any field. They weren't overnight successes. They didn't get where they are by doing something once or twice. They put in years of work. They stayed consistent when no one believed in them. They kept showing up when it would have been easier to quit. They built their success brick by brick, day by day, moment by moment. The difference between those who make it and those who don't isn't talent, it isn't luck, it isn't intelligence. It's persistence. It's the ability to keep going when others stop. It's the ability to keep pushing when others give up. It's the discipline to do the work even when it feels pointless. Success is not about motivation. Motivation fades. Some days you'll feel like giving your all, and some days you won't even want to get out of bed. But discipline is what separates winners from everyone else. Discipline is what keeps you moving forward when the excitement is gone. Discipline is what keeps you doing the work when no one is clapping for you. Discipline is what keeps you focused when the results are slow. Most people make the mistake of thinking success is about big moments. They think it's about major breakthroughs, but success is actually built in the small daily action. It's built in the early mornings, the late nights, the extra reps, the extra hours, the sacrifices that no one sees. It's built in the consistency of showing up over and over again, even when you don't feel like it. If you're trying to build something great, you will have moments when you want to quit. You will have moments when it feels like nothing is working. You will have moments when it feels like nothing is working. And in those moments, you have to remind yourself why you started. You have to remind yourself that success is a long game. You have to remind yourself that every step forward, no matter how small, is still progress. People love the idea of success, but they don't love the work. They love the thought of reaching their goals, but they don't love the process it takes to get there. And that's why so many people never make it, because they are only willing to work when it's easy, when it's fun, when they feel motivated. But the ones who win are the ones who work even when it's hard, when it's frustrating, when it feels like nothing is happening. Success doesn't come to those who start strong. It comes to those who finish strong. It doesn't belong to those who do great for a week and then disappear. It belongs to those who keep going day after day, no matter what. It belongs to those who refuse to let frustration stop them. It belongs to those who understand that every single step forward matters. Think about running a marathon. The first few miles might feel great. You're full of energy. You're excited. You're moving fast. But at some point, exhaustion kicks in. Your legs start to hurt. Your mind starts telling you to stop. And that's the moment when the real test begins. That's the moment when you have to decide whether you're going to push through or give up. That's the moment when champions are made. The truth is, most people quit when it gets hard. They quit when they don't see results fast enough. They quit when they don't feel like it anymore. But the ones who succeed are the ones who keep going, the ones who push through the pain, the ones who understand that every challenge is part of the journey, the ones who refuse to stop, no matter how difficult it gets. Your success is waiting for you, but it will not come to you if you're only willing to work when it's easy. It will not come to you if you give up at the first sign of struggle. It will not come to you if you're looking for quick results. It will only come to you if you stay committed, if you stay disciplined, if you keep pushing forward no matter what. Most people have a dream. They have a vision of the life they want to live, the person they want to become, the goals they want to accomplish. But for most people, that dream stays just that, a dream. It never becomes a reality. Not because they aren't capable, not because they aren't talented, not because they don't have what it takes, but because they never fully commit. They never go all in. They never put themselves in a position where failure is not an option. And that's why they stay stuck. The truth is, you will never achieve your full potential if you always give yourself a way out. If you always have one foot in and one foot out, you will never go far. If you always allow yourself to quit when things get tough, you will never see what's possible. If you always leave yourself an escape route, you will never reach the highest levels of success. The people who make it are the ones who decide that there is no plan B, the ones who tell themselves, this is it. I will do whatever it takes. The ones who burn the boats so there is no way to retreat. Most people don't succeed because they leave themselves too many options. They tell themselves, I'll try, but if it doesn't work, I'll do something else. They say, I'll give it a shot, but I'm not going to put everything on the line. They allow fear and doubt to keep them from fully committing. And as long as you have that mindset, you will never reach the level you're truly capable of. You will always hold back. You will always hesitate. You will always give less than your best because deep down, you know you have an escape route. The ones who succeed are the ones who make a decision and never look back. They don't entertain thoughts of quitting. They don't waste time doubting themselves. They don't allow fear to keep them from taking action. They commit fully. They go all in. They tell themselves, I am going to make this happen no matter what. And because of that level of commitment, they find a way. They figure it out. They push through obstacles that stop other people. They stay focused when everyone else gets distracted. If you look at the most successful people in any field, they weren't the ones who played it safe. They weren't the ones who said, I'll try, and if it doesn't work, I'll do something else. They were the ones who made an unshakable decision that they were going to make it work no matter what. They didn't allow failure to be an option. They didn't allow excuses to creep in. They didn't entertain thoughts of giving up. Think about an athlete training for the Olympics. They don't tell themselves, I'll give it a shot, and if I don't make it, I'll try something else. They don't go into training half-heartedly. They commit fully. They dedicate their entire life to the process. They train for years, sacrificing everything, pushing through pain, overcoming setbacks. They don't give themselves an easy way out. They tell themselves, this is my only option. I will do whatever it takes. And because of that mindset, they achieve things that most people never will. The same principle applies to every area of life. If you want to build a successful business, you can't go into it with a mindset of, I'll see how it goes. If you want to transform your body, you can't approach it with a mindset of, I'll try for a little while and see what happens. If you want to accomplish something great, you have to be willing to commit at a level that most people never do. You have to be willing to put everything on the line. You have to be willing to push past every obstacle, to overcome every challenge, to do whatever it takes. Most people never go all in because they are afraid of failure, afraid of what people will think, afraid of wasting time and effort, afraid of stepping outside their comfort zone. And because of that fear, they stay stuck. They never take the risks necessary to grow. They never push themselves beyond what's comfortable. They never put in the level of effort required to win. They let fear control them. They let doubt dictate their actions. They let insecurity hold them back from the life they could be living. But the ones who win are the ones who refuse to let fear stop them. They feel the fear, but they move forward anyway. They have doubts, but they don't let those doubts dictate their actions. They face obstacles, but they push through instead of running away. They don't give themselves a way out. They tell themselves, no matter how hard it gets, I will not quit. And because of that level of commitment, they find a way to make it happen. Going all in doesn't mean you won't face struggles. It doesn't mean you won't have moments of doubt. It doesn't mean you won't experience setbacks, but it means that no matter what happens, you will not stop. It means that you will keep pushing even when it gets hard. It means that you will keep working even when the results are slow. It means that you will not allow temporary challenges to make you quit on something that is meant for you. Most people are one level of commitment away from changing their entire lives. They are one decision away from unlocking their true potential. They are one moment away from stepping into greatness. But instead of going all in, they hesitate. Instead of taking massive action, they hold back. Instead of fully committing, they allow fear to stop them. And because of that, they never see what's truly possible. The question is, are you willing to go all in? Are you willing to commit at a level most people never will? Are you willing to push through the discomfort, the uncertainty, the struggle? Are you willing to burn the boats so that retreat is no longer an option? Are you willing to give everything you have every single day, no matter what? Most people wait for the perfect moment. They wait for the fear to disappear. They wait for a guarantee of success, but that moment will never come. Fear will always be there. Doubt will always be there. Uncertainty will always be there. The difference between those who win and those who don't is that the winners move forward despite all of that. They take action even when they're scared. They commit even when they're unsure. They push forward even when the path isn't clear. Going all in doesn't mean you will succeed overnight. It doesn't mean everything will be easy. It doesn't mean you won't face struggles, but it means that you will not stop until you make it happen. It means that you will find a way no matter what stands in your way. It means that you will not allow failure to define you, but instead you will use every failure as a lesson to push you forward. There is nothing special about the people who succeed other than their willingness to commit at a level most people never will. There is nothing extraordinary about them other than the fact that they refused to quit when others did. There is nothing magical about their success other than the fact that they kept going when others gave up. You don't need more talent. You don't need more resources. You don't need better circumstances. You need to make a decision that you will not quit. You need to make a decision that you will go all in. You need to make a decision that no matter what happens, no matter how long it takes, no matter how many times you fail, you will not stop until you make it happen.